Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Tuesday, December 26th, 9:28 p.m. Mountain Time 2017. You're looking at a jiffy animation of a new theory of solar system formation. We'll get to that at the end of the video. 53 inches of snow in 2 days. Erie obliterates Pennsylvania 2-day snowfall record. Boom! And that's a boom. That's a buried boom. They're buried, folks. As much as Seattle area got excited about 1 to 3 inches of snow at Christmas, imagine 20 times that. The lake effect snow on Monday into Tuesday pummeled the town of Erie, which is still snowing as we speak. More to come. Check out the departures from norm. Unforgiving cold snap will engulf eastern 2/3 of the nation through New Year's. This goes all the way to January 1st. Take a look at Boston. 20 below normal. 17 below normal. 20 below normal on January 1st. It is going to be freezing in the Northeast for the next week. That's a heads up. Freezing. For many parts of the nation, prolonged periods of punishing cold. It's already brutally cold, and it's already covered in snow, the entire northern half of the country. As Arctic air pours over the Great Lakes, it produced astronomical snowfall amounts. An incredible 53 inches of snow piled up in 30 hours in Erie. Boom! On Tuesday morning, reinforcing blast of cold sent wind chills across North Dakota, northern Minnesota. Look at the current wind chills here in Bismarck. Minus 46 up here. Whew. Fahrenheit. It's America. That's like minus 70. I don't know how cold that is. The extreme cold over the North United States on Tuesday will ooze into the Northeast on Thursday. There it is, oozing. That's oozing. But it's the surge that follows. Look at the Arctic chill through New Year's weekend. Central Park, New York, average forecast temperature for the next 7 days. Heads up, Central Park, 19 every day. And look at these totals. Look at these temperatures. Guys, it is cold in northern United States. It's even colder in Canada. Environment Canada issues extreme cold warnings across the country. A slew of extreme cold warnings. It looks frigid. Why would you go there? Much of Alberta, Manitoba, and the entirety of Saskatchewan are subject to the warnings. Extreme cold warning issued for Edmonton area. Boxing Day breaks record. Edmontonians are being told to brace for another brutally chilly day. An extreme cold warning remains in effect for Boxing Day for the Edmonton region. We're talking minus 29 C. Environment Canada is forecasting a high of minus 24 C in Edmonton on Tuesday with an extreme wind chill of minus 40. Overnight temps are expected to fall minus 27 C with a wind chill of minus 36 C. Extreme cold puts everyone at risk. Now, I've been talking about tricky forecasts. One of our subscribers sent me this. This is coming out of Savannah, Georgia. It's a tricky forecast. They don't know if it's going to snow or rain or ice or what. And you come over to the GFS models. Here's the snow forecast for the next 3 days for the North America. You're going to get buried up there in Washington, northern Idaho, and northwestern Montana. Definitely. Wyoming, northwestern Wyoming is going to get a ton of snow. All the Great Lakes, we're going to have record lake effect snow year. I predicted that months ago, and it's just beginning. Now, as the forecast goes further, this is the 30th to the 31st. They're putting 2 feet of snow in Maine. And another model, an hour later, has no snow in Maine. So that's a heads up, Maine. You're either going to get no snow 2 days before New Year's or buried. I would suggest buried, and that's because the geomagnetic activity happening currently. We're going to get to that. Ankle deep with marble-sized hail. Homes damaged as superstorm slams Queensland, bringing twisters, damaging winds, torrential rain. This has been enhanced by space weather. Hailstones, damaging winds, heavy rain lashed Queensland overnight. Residents from Central Highlands and the North-South Wales border brace for the storms. Hailstones the size of golf balls and cricket balls are reported in Toowoomba. 111-kilometer gusts at St. George's. They were exchanging pictures on Twitter of the hail. Amazing. Mother Nature. Torrential rains continue to batter Hawaii. It is not normal, guys. Heads up, Hawaii. It has not stopped raining there. Possible meteor flashes across the New England sky. A screenshot of the possible meteor captured from the Mount Agamenticus Conservatory. A celestial object was recorded by a webcam in Maine just before 5:50 p.m. Could be associated with the Geminids. Let's take a look at the seismic map. We have a 2.7 popping off in Robbinsville, North Carolina. Could be associated with the New Madrid fault zone and maybe some deep well injection. Or the weight of all that snow. Nothing else of note that I can that's popping out at me. Come over to spaceweathernews.com and you can see we went into geomagnetic storm 6 hours ago. And nothing happened. The only thing that happened was the phi angle changed. And a recent paper coming out says that if the phi angle shift of the solar wind is greater than 7 degrees, it can accentuate storms. So what this is showing me is over the last 24 hours, storms have been accentuated with geomagnetic activity. Probably bringing the hail and the record snows to Erie. And we are going to geomagnetic storm and nothing spectacular is happening. Solar wind is moderate at 400. Temperature is moderate. Density is moderate range. Phi angle is perturbed. Interesting to say the least. Come over to all the K indices globally, including the A indices, and this is coming directly from NOAA. And you can see that we did have that plasma filament did affect us on the College Station during Christmas. And that we've had some geomagnetic activity over the past 24 hours accentuating those snow events. That's a heads up. And if you continue to go through the NOAA site, the space weather impacts on climate is quite interesting. You might want to take a look at this. Because the graph here, where they're now showing model temperature using the 4 drivers above, including the ENSO tropical drivers, the volcanic aerosols, and the sun. And look at the greenhouse gases. It's actually showing a drop down here. That's a heads up. NOAA is showing a drop into the grand solar minimum on their page. And if you go to read this, it's very telling the way that they're changing their phraseology to meet what we're talking about here. Now, guys, I'm going to leave you with some interesting stuff. Science and tech. Our solar system may have formed in a star-making bubble. Scientists have proposed a new comprehensive theory of the blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So here's a new theory for how our solar system could have been formed. And it has this badass jiffy. Which we can probably get it to run again. But there it is right there. I'll let that run. The study addresses the nagging cosmic mystery about the abundance of 2 elements in our solar system compared to the rest of the galaxy. The general prevailing theory is that our solar system formed billions of years ago near a supernova. And we'll pop up this jiffy. I guess it'll start running at some point. Now, if you look at that jiffy down there, the new scenario, it begins with a giant type of star called a Wolf-Rayet Star, which is more than 50 times the size of our current sun. They burn the hottest of all stars, producing tons of elements which are flung to the surface in an intense stellar wind. And as the Wolf-Rayet Star sheds the mass, the stellar wind plows through the material that was around it, forming a bubble structure with a dense shell. That's this guy. It's not loading for us. So we'll just blow that one up. There it is. Now, the shell of such a bubble is a good place to produce stars because dust and gas become trapped inside where they can condense into stars, says co-author Nicholas Dufas, professor in the Geophysical Sciences Department at the University of Chicago. The authors estimate that 1% to 16% of all sun-like stars could be formed in such a stellar nursery as this particular bubble that you're looking at now. The setup differs from the supernova hypothesis in order to make sense of two isotopes that occur in strange proportions in the early solar system compared to the rest of the galaxy. Now, meteorites left over from the early solar system tell us that there's a lot of aluminum-26. In addition, studies, including a 2015 one by Dufas and former student, increasingly suggest we had less of the isotope iron-60. Now, this brings scientists up short because supernova produced both of these isotopes, and it begs the question of why one was injected into the solar system and the other was not, says co-author Vikram Dwarkadas, a research associate professor in astronomy and physics. This brought them to the Wolf-Rayet stars, which release lots of aluminum-26, but no iron-60. So they're halfway there. And that's a heads up to halfway there in science. Boom! Let's get crazy! And let's go boom. This is coming from Newsweek. Hollow Earth conspiracy theory says planet is filled with aliens and Nazis, but it isn't, according to Newsweek. That's crazy because I think it is now. Holy shit. What have they just done? This article, we all know about this theory. There's a big hole in Antarctica where you fly the spaceships in and Hitler's down there and he's chilling with the Greys and everything is, you know, Nibiru's coming, and then they're controlling it all with HARP. Boom! Holy crap, where have we gone? Guys, the planet's getting colder, and it has nothing to do with Nazis, I assure you. But because of what is coming out from the mainstream, it's scaring me. But what is interesting is that NOAA is now acknowledging space weather impacts on climate. I'll leave you links to this. It's worth your time and your perusal. We're going to get more into the solar dynamics that are proposed by Zarkova and the Heartbeat of the Sun this week. For those of you who just joined our channel, you'll have a better grip on what the culminating effects of the current grand solar minimum mean for us and how quickly we're going to descend in the coming years. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, do so now. Share this with like-minded people. Thanks for watching. Thank you to all of our Patreons. Have a happy holidays.